Right then, guys, this is a Talkie Hands video, and by public demand, based on a recent poll, everyone's kind of chosen the Mega Drive and my collection of games to be my next kind of collections video. Very, very special console to me, the Mega Drive. Now, as you can see here, this is a Japanese version with a really sexy 16-bit font on there. Hasn't got the high definition graphics on the stock because I think this is like the revision 2, which has unfortunately got the weaker sound chip of it, the Yamaha sound chip. I think they're using the Mega Drive 2, which in some games like Hellfire doesn't play the sounds sounds correctly, and the music's a bit off. And like in some games as well, the sound can be a bit basic. It's not really that noticeable, but I know in Hellfire the music doesn't play right because the sound chip in it. But the Mega Drive undoubtedly is, and I'm going to put it out there, my favourite console of all time. It's just a part of me. It's in my soul. I had one when I was a kid. First picked up a Japanese one in about 1990, I think, from an advert in the local newspaper, Express and Star. My parents put some money together to get me one, and it had loads of games that come with it. I think there's Ghouls and Ghosts, Afterburner, Strider, Super Monaco GP. An amazing collection of Japanese import games. It was a Japanese console as well, like this. And then we got it home, unfortunately. We plugged it in, and it only displayed in black and white. I think this was due to it only being a 50 hertz TV, and some problems with the SCART, not being able to read it properly. Now, that may have caused it black and white. So we had to take it back, unfortunately, and give it back to the very understanding people who obviously had the money back. And so we had our money back, and we gave them the console back because it worked fine on their TV. It was just the problem was with our TV. But not to be deterred, for my birthday, I think of that year, September 90, yeah, my dad took me to Dixon's, remember them, that electronics group in Dudley, in the West Midlands, and bought me a PAL Mega Drive, the original Mark 1 one with a smaller and uglier 16-bit font, but came packed in with Alter Beast, and the rest is history. Amazing console, love it to bits, great collection of games. I've got so much nostalgia for it. Some of the happiest parts of my childhood and my early teen years are spent with this console. I kind of really is just part of me, this the old Mega Drive. So yeah, as you can see, I picked this one up maybe about 10 years ago, I think, from a seller in Italy. Wasn't much, about £25 back then. I wouldn't like to say how much they are nowadays. Probably double, 3 times, 4 times that. That's the back of it. Mega CD connector has still got the red trim in place, all mint in there. And this is a very, very tidy and clean console, which I'm really happy about. And obviously got the bigger Japanese slot there, which will take Japanese and PAL and American cartridges. So yeah, awesome bit of kit there, the Mega Drive. And then we're going to go through my collection of games and hardware and all that stuff. So yeah, there's the Mega Drive. Now I'm just going to move it briefly across. Let's get the slightly boring stuff out of the way first before we move into the games. And you can't get more boring than this, but I think it is important in terms of the authenticity of this. That's an original Master System 1 and Mega Drive 1 AC power adapter. Now, what's interesting about this, not only is it authentic, but you can use this on loads of Japanese consoles. I use this to power safely my Neo Geo, my Super Famicom, and my PC Engine, and maybe something else as well. It's a great all-round power adapter. This has got to be well over 34 years old, 33 years old, maybe something like that. Still works a treat. Testament to how well these things were built. And yeah, really solid power brick that, and serves me well, and say powers all my kind of import consoles. So yeah, AC adapter. Let's get that out of the way without tangling the wires and destroying everything. Right, first bit of accessory is the arcade power stick. Now, this is the PAL version one, the Mega Drive power stick, arcade power stick even, and it is good. But I remember not wanting one as a kid because it didn't do much more than the joypad other than the Auto Fire stuff, which is good. But I'd spent so many years struggling with joysticks and the 8-bit home micro scene. I didn't want to really go back to them because I just thought joypads were just the future back then. And this seemed a bit of a backward step. Now, it's good. It's okay. But the key thing with this is it hasn't got micro switches. Now on the stick, it's like a slush box. So the accuracy of the joypad is, or not a genuine arcade stick, is lost. So it's just very slushy. But I have read the Japanese one has got micro switches. So if I ever find a Japanese one, I will probably purchase one, because to play on your Mega Drive with genuine arcade micro switch type stick would be great. Also, if there's any knackered ones as well, I might add some micro switches to this. But it's generally in good condition. That I paid about £5 for that many years ago. Bit of well, where the paint's rubbed off really, but it's in fine condition. Might give that a paint in the near future. Just keep looking mint. But yeah, you know, when you feel like using a joystick for you playing your Mega Drive, that's not a bad little thing at all. So that's a joypad that came with it. Standard issue Japanese controller with a blue start button. It's called a computer video game control pad. They're still pretty cheap to get now. These are nowadays. And if I remember right, when I was a kid, the letters were ABC in red, but I think they've all just worn out over the years of use on all the controllers I've had for it from. That's the Japanese standard one that came with it. Now, in the late 90s, see how many stories are attached to this amazing console. I bought a Mega Drive 2 when I was at university in 98-99 for like £5 from, where was it? What was the name of the place? Game Station, maybe in Wolverhampton. Got a pad with it, and I think I had a few games with it as well for £5 or £10. I definitely had John Madden's football, and I used to play John Madden with my friends at university quite a lot. So shout out to Big Si if you're watching this, mate. We had a few sessions on John Madden with this pad back in Tottenham back in the day in our halls of residence. So yeah, I found this in my mum's loft or one of the cupboards a few years back or last year. I thought, okay, it'll be good if it works. You know, another pad for the Mega Drive, not going to go wrong. And this works really well. Key thing with this is it obviously says Mega Drive control pad. The start button's red. The lettering may have been red on that. But what I like about this is the end connectors have got that nice bit of trim there, a solid trim, which just kind of differentiates it more from any other Sega kind of connectors, like in the the Mega Drive 1 pads, the Master System pads, and like 8-bit home console joystick connectors. So that's really quite nice. Cheapo budget stuff now. The Mega Drive 6-button pad, I had one back in the day when I was a kid for Street Fighter 2. Awesome controller, very comfortable. Probably the best controller I've ever had. The Saturn's, but it's just the evolution of it. The Saturn's, I think the Saturn Mark II pad. This is the cheapo version of it, and it's all right, and it does the job. Paid about £2-3 for it to play Street Fighter 2. So yeah, that's what I use when I'm playing Street Fighter 2 or Super Street Fighter on the Mega Drive. Cheap and cheerful, but works. But I do strongly recommend, they are quite pricey now, the Mega Drive 6-button pad, the official one. It's really good. Right, so shall we go on to the fun stuff then? So shall we look at the box games? I've got a collection of PAL, American, Japanese, and even Russian games here, believe it or not. And what I'm going to do is I'll open the boxes so you can just see what the cartridges and the condition looks like. And then when we clear all that, we'll go through all the unboxed games as well. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's really get into it. Right, so I'll kick off with Gauntlet 4, or Gauntlet, it's known in Japan. Brilliant port this is. I think it was M2 who ported this. It was one of the first games they did. Incredible port, arcade perfect in many ways, and it's probably superior to the arcade game in the fact that the soundtrack is absolutely amazing on this. Because there's no music on the original arcade original, but on this there is a superb soundtrack, which I recommend if you've never played this game, have a listen to the soundtrack. So there's the manual, and there's the cartridge. That's Gauntlet 4. That's actually region locked as well, and I've got a Game Genie that I use to put codes in to play later region lock games on my Japanese Mega Drive, because I think from about 93 was it, the game's got region lock, so I have to use a Game Genie to bypass the region lock. Before that, you could just put a Japanese or a Western cartridge into a Japanese Mega Drive or a PAL Mega Drive with a cartridge lock opened. It worked fine, but after that, the region lock. So yeah, I'll get into that later. That's Gauntlet 4. Right, John Madden Football 92. Only ever had back in the day John Madden's Football and played that to death. Loved that game. Got so much respect for that game and love that game because it taught me how to play American football, taught me the nuances of the game, and just got me into American football. So that was the real power of video games back in the day. Like not back in the day, but the power of video games, that they can really broaden knowledge and your life if you get into them. So this is 92, and this is the better version. Everyone had that back in the day. The fun part is when the ambulance comes in here and knocks all the players over. I got this from a charity shop, I think, for not a great deal of money. Box with instructions many years ago, maybe a couple of quid. Yeah, great game. Would recommend that. John Madden Football 92. Not that I'm on an electronic arts kind of tip here or anything, but our next game's Road Rash. Brilliant fun. Yeah, this and the sequel are great games. Didn't have the sequel back in the day because I thought it was more of the same, but the sequel is slightly better with a split screen. Awesome game, Road Rash. There you go, boxed instructions. Another one thoroughly recommend. I'm probably going to say that for a lot of games today because I've only bought the games I loved as a kid and great games for the Mega Drive. So there's a lot of corking games here for you to see. James Bond 2, Robocod. Fun, silly game. What made me buy this was actually, I think, was it 8-Bit Boy UK on YouTube? He was doing some of his challenges with James Bond 2. Or somebody was doing the Mega Drive challenge. Maybe Retro Mart, I'm not sure. But I thought, yeah, I've got fond memories of playing this on the Amiga, and I think I rented this from the video shop on the Mega Drive. It's a fun game. It's silly. It's what British-produced games used to kind of all be about, just that kind of wackiness, tongue-in-cheek. It's good fun. No instructions on this one, although it did belong to Marky Mark. I wonder if it was Marky Mark of Mark Wahlberg fame back in the day, and the Funky Bunch. So yeah, I bought this last year, the year before, not much, under a tenner. Yeah, that's good. Okay. More charity shop action. Aladdin, £5. A couple of years ago now, 2-3 years. But a real steal there at £5. PAL version. I never had this back in the day, but it pushes the limits of the Mega Drive graphically and everything. It was an outstanding game at the time. I just didn't get it when I was a kid. But yeah, £5 good deal. No instructions, but for the £5 I paid for it, I'm not too bothered. Good game. You can't have a Mega Drive and not have Sonic. So this is the PAL version. My nostalgia is for the American Genesis version because I remember the summer of '91. My aunt got me that game in June or July. I spent all the summer holidays playing it. Before it came out in the UK, I think it came out in the UK in September, I think, or late August. But this is the PAL version, and yeah, everyone knows about Sonic. Quality stuff. And John Madden's, what a game! What a game! Yeah, pick this up. I think I may have traded some games in or something. Or it was given to me really cheap when I was a kid. And it just blew me away and opened me up into a sport that I didn't really fully understand. And this game taught me everything I play American football and taught me how to love the sport. And I still love it to this day. It's a great game, American football. Sadly, no instructions this one, but this was another charity shop buy many years ago. I don't think I paid more than £1 for this. Amazing game. Look at that box art as well. Corky. Sonic 2. Great game. Loads of fun. Yeah, it's really good fun, Sonic 2. Fond memories of this, buying it. I think I got it on Sonic Tuesday when it came out. Was that November or something in '92? It was '92, but why I hold this up close to my hand, and Sonic in many ways, is my dad really enjoyed playing Sonic, the Sonic games 1 and 2. And I'll always remember, I think he fully completed Sonic, got all the Chaos Emeralds as well, fully legitimately. He was quite the gamer, my dad was. He had a lot of skills. He was brilliant at Tetris as well. So I've got a lot of fond memories with the Sonics for being attached to my father as well. But yeah, again, you all know about Sonic 2. Great game. Space Harrier 2. Still got the Woolworths price sticker on. I think, oh yeah, back in the day, that was $19.99 because you could get Mega Drive games for £20. The earlier games that were on the smaller cartridges, things like this Super Hang-On, Last Battle Forgotten Worlds, I think they got £20 because they're on a smaller cartridge. So that was good bit of business by Sega by making them cheaper. And I just love the authenticity of having that original Woolworths sticker on it. So we'll do my utmost to preserve that. Yeah, this game looks great in stills. And when you saw it in magazines in 1988, like, wow, look at the Mega Drive. Sadly, the Mega Drive didn't have scaling hardware. And it plays really jerky. So it's not the best. But it's all right. It's decent-ish. Oh, God, there's a sales receipt there as well. You see that? It's still attached to it. That was bought in 1993 for £19.99. Wow. Yeah, it's okay. But other ports of Space Harrier are better. The original Space Harrier, so yeah. Super Monaco GP, fantastic game. Absolutely love this game. The graphics, the presentation, the music. Obviously, you can't match the power of the Super Scalar arcade original, but that's quite a limited game. What offer just one circuit. This has a full Grand Prix Championship mode where you've got rivals and you can change teams. It's very, very in depth for the time, and I would spend many hours, many days playing this game as a kid, using the password system to go all throughout the different teams. Really, really good game. Really like it. Super WrestleMania. When the Super Nintendo first came out and it kind of just blitzed the Mega Drive in the UK press, the Super WrestleMania game on the SNES looked fantastic and seemed okay. Seemed good fun. So we're all Mega Drive guys were all a bit envious of that. And it was until like about a year later, you got Super WrestleMania came out on the Mega Drive, and it's good. Well, it's not. It's okay. I don't think it's aged very well. The game is quite limited. There's better wrestling games. Dare I say, Wrestle War's more fun than this actually. And of course, if you're outside the Mega Drive, WrestleFest is the definitive 90s arcade wrestling game. But yeah, not nice for the collection that. Okay, more EA business. PGA Tour Golf. Look at that for a corking price, £2. Bought that from the Doncaster Retro Games Fair many years ago, maybe 10 years ago, 9 years ago. This is in beautiful condition. This is an American Genesis version. Not sure if the battery backup still works, but yeah, look at the quality of that instructions as well in colour. Was it colour? Oh, it's black and white, but it's got colour on the back as well. But yeah, really nice. And this is definitely one of the better golf games. Very relaxing. I've been intending to kind of get this out and just have a good play on it, really. PGA Tour Golf, the original. Really good game. I think the sequel's better than this, PGA Tour Golf 2, I think. I think I may have rented it or traded it or something back in the day when I was a kid, but this is really good. Okay, leave that over there. Right, more Bargain City here. I've got a price now to pay for that. This was like £2. This is the Asian, like Hong Kong version of Virtual Racing. And that's got the Sega Virtual Processor chip in there. This is a really good port and would have looked impressive at the time, but the key thing is this plays just like the arcade version. Really, really good fun. Did a recent Mega Drive challenge on this and it's so much fun. Really do love Virtual Racing. The arcade game's great. The Mega Drive port's great as well. I think I paid £2 for this for £1. Back in the day, back in the mid-90s, 94, whenever it was. When did it come out? Can we see a date? 94, yeah, 94. This was about £85, £90 in the UK back then to buy it. That was a lot of money. But you're paying for the extra chip that was on board. Good game. Shine in the Darkness. This is a Japanese version, so a little bit unplayable for people like me who can't read or speak Japanese. You could do it, I suppose, if you use like Google Lens or Google Translate to translate it all. It would be a bit slow paced, but I remember having this as a kid, the Western version, and just really enjoying it. A really good role-playing game. Great graphics, great presentation. But yeah, interesting with this as well. When I bought it for a couple of quid, I got the inlay and the game, but no case. So I just got myself a second-hand case from somewhere for like 10 pence, or it might have been lying around the house, and popped it in there, and it's as good as new, although it hasn't got a manual, which is a bit of a shame. Okay. We've got Ayrton Senna's Super Monaco GP2. Rest in peace to Ayrton. Great driver, great man. This is kind of more of the same of Super Monaco GP, but with Ayrton on it. I didn't buy it back in the day because it seemed more of the same, but this is really good presentation, superb. And I'm right in thinking, yeah, it has got a battery backup as well, so you don't have to worry about passwords and all that nonsense in the season mode. Really good. Is it better or worth more to buy now than Super Monaco GP1? I'm not sure, but if you're an Ayrton Senna fan like me, definitely worth a purchase. Mickey Mouse and the Castle of Illusion. Wow. I had this when I was a kid. I always used this game as a benchmark for Mega Drive graphics when I was a kid. I was like, if, you know, this came out early, was it 89? 89? Can't see a date on that. Yeah, no, 1990, early 1990. It's got amazing graphics, amazing platformer mechanics, brilliant game. And it was just as a benchmark for later games after this. Well, look what they did in the early days of the Mega Drive. Surely they can produce graphics and gameplay as good as this. This is an essential Mega Drive game. Brilliantly done by Sega. Well done. Hard driving. I think this port gets a lot of hate, the Mega Drive version. I think it plays really well. And I do like hard driving. I've got a lot of memories of hard driving on various formats, even the 8-bit formats, the Amiga. I think I even had to go on the arcade machine, a sitting cab back in the day. And I remember having the Mega Drive version and this version. I've got the copy now. And it's really, really good. It's a good port, but gets a lot of hate because I suppose it's a simple game nowadays. And if you didn't play it back in the day, you'd probably never understand how impressive it was to just see like a polygon 3D racing game in the arcades at home. But yeah, I'd recommend that if you can pick it up. It's good. Super Street Fighter 2. This one sadly hasn't got the instructions. But again, I didn't get it back in the day because it was a big money, 50 or 60 quid, I think. And at the time, when this came out, I was getting a bit tired of one-on-one fighters because the market was saturated with it, with Street Fighter, the SNK stuff. And I was really embracing the start of the 3D stuff like Virtual Fighter and Tekken in the arcades. So I didn't get it at the time, but this is brilliant. I would recommend it. No instructions, but yeah, great game, Super Street Fighter 2. Got a 6-button pad to play that as well. Nice, it's boxed. Hellfire, wow. This was like the pinnacle of shoot 'em ups early on in the Mega Drive. This great game. Everybody back in the day, I remember, seemed to have this on Japanese import in the late 80s, early 90s. Hellfire. It's a brilliant arcade conversion. Soundtrack and music is superb, but tragically, the soundtrack's a bit off on my Mega Drive because it's got a different sound chip. But this, if you like shoot 'em ups, you've got to give Hellfire a go. It's an absolute banger. Oh, I'm just doing a balancing act now with my games. It looks like I'm going to fall over. Luckily they're not. Now, this is interesting. This is the Japanese Namco port of Klax. And in my mind, this is the better port of Klax on the Mega Drive. Better than the Tengen Domark one. This looks like the arcade game, plays like the arcade game. It's nice and just runs sweet. So I would recommend, if you like Klax, get the Japanese version, the Namco version, because it's really, really good. Plays great, plays just like the arcade game. So if you're a Klax fan, you'll need that in your collection. Afterburner 2, I think this is a stunning port. Although, there's no sprite scale on the Mega Drive, this does as best you can do the sprite scale. It plays at the same manic pace as the arcade game. Its presentation's there. The soundtrack is even, I think, sampled because it sounds just like the arcade version. So I'm not sure if the Mega Drive sound chip is actually doing the work on this, but it sounds amazing. Fantastic port. Love it. Very playable, very fun. Always dust off Mega Drive Afterburner every now and again for a game. And so this is boxed instructions, Japanese. I bought this myself and purchased it in Tokyo in 2015, I believe, from where did I buy it from? Akihabara, I think. Akihabara. Is Akihabara you pronounce it? You know what I mean? The electrics bit in Tokyo, Akihabara. And yeah, it's awesome, that is. And really nice condition game there. Super Hang-On. This is a brilliant port. The music is amazing. Outrider Crisis is probably one of my favourite pieces of video game music. Again, lacking the scaling, but the graphics are large, it's bright, it looks great, it plays just like the arcade game. Yeah, it's stunning. And this was like £20, the PAL version, brand new back in the day. Definitely recommend a bit of Super Hang-On. Right, Sword of a Million. Check that out. 5 mega memory, and it's got a 106-page hint book included. Now, remember, kids, before the internet, these Japanese RPG games were a bit baffling. So often when they got a Western release, you'd get the hint book or a guide or a map included. So I haven't got the hint book, but I have got the instructions all taped up. And this is another bit of, well, two things for this. This was nostalgia for this because this was the first Japanese role-playing game I actually got into as a kid when I was 11 or 12. I played it a lot and I really enjoyed it. It was a bit inaccessible to start off with, but then the more I persevered with it, the more I enjoyed it. It is a Yu Suzuki game, so it is good. I need to sit down and play through this all again now in my adult days. And the other thing about this was I had a smashed up box and the cartridge and the instructions only. And what I did, I purchased a reproduced print from eBay of a seller there. Not for much, for about £5, a few quid. And got myself a new box and put it all together. So now I've got a really nice kind of complete Sword and Villain Modus, the hint book, but I'll find that one day. But I bet the hint book's about £3,000 on eBay nowadays. Look at the price of retro games. So yeah, check that one out. Pit Fighter. Yeah, I do like Pit Fighter. I like the arcade game. I like this version a lot. The graphics are terrible on this. I'm going to be honest with you. Even though it's got 8 meg. They could have done a lot more graphically, but this plays brilliantly, even better than the arcade version. I think it's suited to the controller really well. It just plays great. I like Pit Fighter. It's loads of fun. Good quality beat 'em up. As you see, their graphics are terrible for the Mega Drive. I wouldn't expect sprite scaling, of course, but I think the Amiga version looked better than this, to be honest with you. But the key thing is this plays brilliantly, and it's a really, really good fun game. So that's definitely worth picking up, Pit Fighter. EA Hockey. Love this game. I got this on mail order back in the day when I was a kid, and I think I got this from a charity shop for a few pounds today. It's boxed with instructions. Yeah, always got fond memory. It still plays brilliantly now. It's an amazing game. Didn't get the NHL license in Europe for whatever reason. In America, I think it's called NHL Hockey with real players or whatever, or real stats. But, fond memories of this. All my friends when I was in secondary school would come round and we'd just play hockey to death. Great game. Really enjoyable game. This. It's like speedball, really, more than ice hockey, but it's really good. And speaking of speedball, we got Speedball 2. Love the artwork on this. Bitmap Brothers classic. Mega Drive version's fine. Probably not quite graphically as good as the Amiga version. It pains me to say that, but it plays brilliantly. And yeah, I played this on everything, Amiga, Atari ST back in the day. And when the Mega Drive version came, I thought, oh, I've got to have that because that's such a fun game. Don't think I've got any instructions of this one. No, I haven't. Just the game. But yeah, quality. Mortal Kombat 3. Never too fussed by the Mortal Kombat games back in the day. But I've grown to appreciate Mortal Kombat. And this is a really good port. Plays brilliantly. Do you get Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 on the Mega Drive? I'm not sure, but this is really good. Really enjoyable. Graphics are very serviceable for what they are, and a good game. Really, really good game, that Mortal Kombat 3. Super Kickoff, yeah. Now, Kickoff, wow. All the 16-bit Amiga Atari ST crew, wow. Didn't everyone play a lot of Super Kickoff back? Sorry, not Kickoff as it was called, Kickoff 2 as it was known back then, on their computers, and Super Kickoff on the consoles. Same box art as on the computers, but I love this game back in the day, you know, with the ball physics and how you could dribble the ball and everything. I've played them recently. I played them on the Amiga and I play this, and I can't get into it like when I was a kid. It felt amazing back in the day. But I think Sensible Soccer in many ways eclipsed this, just in terms of playability, because it's a lot simpler and easier to control. But I think if I could get back into how you control it and the dribbling, I'd probably love this again as much as a kid. But yeah, this is a very nostalgic game. Spent many hours with friends on their computers or consoles playing Kickoff 2 or Super Kickoff. Yeah, FIFA Soccer or FIFA International Soccer. This is the thing. This is a bit of FIFA history, or EAFC history as it's known now. This is the game that started the franchise off. This is what's kicked it all off. Came out in the UK Christmas of '93, I believe. So much memories with this. No instructions, unfortunately. Playing with friends, having them around from school holidays. We played FIFA Soccer non-stop, scoring crazy goals, just having loads of fun. Never used the 4-tap thing to play it, but loads of 2-player fun. And I've always got such vivid memories and happy memories of, I was with my mum, I think in the Merrill Centre in Dudley. It was a couple of days before Christmas, and I think we just finished off the Christmas shopping, went into like a video game shop, a game or something, can't remember what it was. The Electronics Boutique, maybe, remember them? And this was out. I didn't expect it to be out. I was looking at it, and you know, because obviously I love football, and my mum just got it for me, and I just remember just Christmas feeling a bit special back then, and you know, the build up to it, and yeah, that was put away till Christmas Day, and really enjoyed it. Great game. Columns, I love Columns. I've got it on the Master System as well. I didn't love it back in the day. I mean, I rented it from a video shop, and I was like a Tetris on the Game Boy man through and through, and just thought this was a cheap knockoff. but time has been kind to Columns, and now I can see what it is, and it's a really great puzzle game, very relaxing, hypnotic in many ways. Music hypnotises me, puts me into a bit of a trance, but I love Columns. Really good, and I think you can still pick up Columns cheap as well. Okay, this is Jimmy White's Whirlwind Snooker, 1999, back in the day. Later Mega Drive font, so this would have come on, this come out 95, 96, that's 94, but yeah, this is when they changed the Mega Drive box art. No instructions. Believe it or not, I know I played this on the Amiga. Since buying this for the collection recently, I don't think I have played that. So I need to give that a go. I need to plug that into my Game Genie to bypass the region lock and give it a go. Zero Tolerance. I'd never heard of this game. Never heard of it back in the day. Never heard of it recently. However, I found this game in a car boot sale close to me in Wolverhampton, and I didn't pay much for it. And it's actually a Doom clone. That's not too bad. Box of instructions. This was a couple of quid again. I don't know if you can see from the pictures there, but it's a Doom clone and just shows that the Mega Drive could do very basic kind of Doom-esque games, like a first-person shooter. I had a go on it. It's all right, but I think back in the day, they've been quite blown away by that. Right, so that is all the box games. Oh, no, there's one more box game, and it's an anomaly. It's Russian Double Dragon. This is a bit of a knockoff, but the whole game has been translated into Russian. And I got this from eBay years ago, maybe a decade ago. It's a hack of the Accolade Double Dragon port that came out on the Mega Drive. But everything's in Russian, the menus and everything. Okay, this is great for the Russian market. Bizarrely, it runs incredibly slow, like everyone's kind of in quicksand. I don't know what the problem is. I've run this on a PAL Mega Drive, I've run this on a 60Hz Mega Drive, I've run it on a clone console, and it's still unplayably slow. So I don't know if the hackers kind of messed it up when they were doing this because it's unplayable. Or maybe it runs better on Russian clone systems or something. I don't know, but that's okay as a novelty, but it's pretty much unplayable because it's that slow, which is a shame. Okay, right. Let's crack on then onto the unboxed stuff. Oh, it's like Jenga, wheeling out the Japanese stuff. Oh, it's still there. Is it going to fall off? Is it going to fall off? No. There you go. Who'd have thought you'd seen Jenga in this video? Kicking off with then, Thunder Force 3. Brilliant shooter. Would recommend. I used to be quite good at this when I was a kid back in the day. I find it really hard nowadays, but I've been playing it recently. If you practice and just keep getting stuck into it, you will get better at this. It is a good game. I really like that. Great graphics and sound. World of Illusion. This is the follow-up to Castle Illusion. It's 2-player with Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck. Had the PAL version of this when I was a kid. Great graphics, great game. Only slightly disappointed with this though is I haven't played this since being up the collection, but when I was a kid I remember it just being too easy. An absolute walkthrough of a game. But and the graphics aren't quite as good as Castle Illusion, from being honest, even though that's a two more years development time, maybe 92. But yeah, that is definitely my fancy collection, especially like Disney games. Burning Force, really good port of an obscure Namco game. This is Namco working in Magic for the Mega Drive. They did a lot of good Mega Drive games, Namco. What's good about this is the scaling, how well it replicates the arcade game. For obviously the Mega Drive hasn't got the hardware. This is a really good effort on capturing the arcade game to Mega Drive. They did a really good job with that. So it's a funnish game, worth a go. You can get it cheap. DJ Boy, yeah, weird roller skating beat 'em up game. Quite popular in the arcades back in the day. This was a big early Mega Drive game in the import scene. So. And I saw that for a few quid, had to have it. As you see, I don't pay much for my games, you see, because when I started getting into this hobby many years ago, all this stuff was cheap, and that was the fun of it, just getting stuff cheap and the nostalgia. I can't be paying 50, 60, 70, 80 pounds a game now, like what some of the prices are going for. It's crazy. Rambo 3, good stuff. Top-down game with a bit of strategy involving changing weapons and stuff. What this did was we shift a few Mega Drives though, because the boss sequences where you see behind Rambo and he's shooting at tanks and helicopters look really impressive in the magazines, and they still look good now. Just showing what the Mega Drive can do in terms of the size of sprites and colours. But yeah, not the best of the Rambo films, but this is probably one of the better Rambo games if I'm being honest. Okay, Cyberball, great port of the Atari arcade original. And interestingly enough, you know, I was talking about before the original revision 1s of the Mega Drives, Japanese and PAL, they actually had a modem input in there as well. So you could, you know, they were designed to take a modem, and this can actually got an option for you to play online, which is quite interesting. So yeah, really good port, recommend that. And I'll just show you what I mean. If I just get through this and don't break anything, just bear with me. I know I'm going to knock something over now in my look. But yeah, if you look at the back of this Mega Drive, here on the revision 1 the early Mega Drives, there's a little port there that says serial modem. And I think you could actually buy a modem in Japan for the Mega Drive to plug it in the Mega Modem. You could play online and dial into your bank account and stuff like that. Crazy, really crazy. I will pop the Mega Drive here, I think. Just keep it in view. Okay, where are we going now? We are going to eSWAT. This is nothing like the arcade game. However, it's because the arcade game's not that good, if I'm being honest. It's a Shinobi-esque kind of shooting game, and it's really, really good, but hard. So yeah, good game. Nothing but good games here, kids. Tatsujin or Truxton, great port, great shooter. Never interesting as a kid because the Mega Drive had far too many shooters, but this is one of the better shooters on the Mega Drive. Golden Axe, what can I say? Great artwork, great game, great port. Really showed what the Mega Drive could do, bringing that kind of arcade experience home. This is what the Mega Drive's all about, good old Golden Axe. So if you've got a Mega Drive, just like Sonic, you need Golden Axe. Okay, Strider, bought this one from Akibara in Japan. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. In Tokyo, what a port. First 8 meg cartridge, I think, for the Mega Drive, was it? Or 12 meg or something, but brilliant port. The Capcom CPS-1 original, superb. Would recommend. And the Western box art is diabolical. The Japanese one is far superior, but great game. Crackdown, this is the Japanese version. Talking that when the first Mega Drive I had, which didn't work on our TV, I had Crackdown as part of that package as well. And the intro sequences is very nostalgic. I really do like the intro sequence, but it's a fun game. That very simple but fun. Top down, a gauntlet style thing where you got to plant a bomb. Toki. Toki was a big game back in the day, and on all formats. I had it on the Atari Lynx. I had it on the Mega Drive as well. The Amiga had a great port. This Mega Drive game is a bit of a remix, a bit different, but plays great. Really enjoy Toki, so I would recommend that. That's Bare Knuckle 1, or Streets of Rage as we know it in the West. You all know about that game, Streets of Rage. Fantastic beat 'em up. Okay, moving along with our Japanese selection. Landstalker. Don't know much about this game other than when it's come on recent compilations or on the Mega Drive Minis. I've only bought this year. I've got a good bundle deal on it with World of Illusion there. Maybe £10 for both. Yet to play that. Heard good things about it. But it came out later in the Mega Drive's life, so I didn't really get into that back in the day. Now, when you talk about quality ports, you've got to look at Midnight Resistance on the Mega Drive. I really like this game. I really like the soundtrack on the Mega Drive. It's superb. Brilliant port. It's a Japanese version. It was never released in the UK or Europe. American release was available. Back in the day, I had the American port, the release. Really good game. Sadly, no 2-player in that, but that is a stunning port. Okay. Street Fighter 2 Plus Dash Champion Edition. Wow, that's a bit of a mouthful. That's basically Street Fighter 2 Special Champion Edition, as it was known in the West. Yeah, when the Mega Drive looked down and out, there was all these rumours about Street Fighter 2. Is it going to come out? Is it coming out? And then we started seeing pictures in magazines. Is it real? Is it going to happen? And then it dropped in October 93. I immediately dumped all my savings out of my Building Society account to buy this and the 6-button controller. And yeah, it didn't disappoint. Loved it. Spent, after being really envious of my friends with Super Nintendos who could play this at home, having this version that ran faster and was the champion edition with the boss characters was, just a stone cold stunner. I love this game. I love this port. Brilliant. Okay. Street Smart. Yeah, funnish port, good port of a okayish game. I used to like playing this in the arcades, and I played the Mega Drive game. It's okay, it's good, simple. That's a 11-in-1, and I don't think the games on here match what's on it. I couldn't tell you what actually games are on it, but I don't think they're actually the ones that you see in the label there, so never mind. But yeah, that's one of those random 11-in-1s. Not a back in the day one. Bought this five odd years ago. I'd love to get my hands on the original back in the day multi-cart though, because they were quite special back in the day. Your friends from Hong Kong used to pick those up and bring them in, didn't they? Right. Thunder Force 2. Now, I really like this game, but I find the top-down sections too hard and inaccessible. The side-scrolling stuff is great. Typical Thunder Force 3 and 4. Really glad for the later games to drop this top-down stuff because this is really good, but the top-down stuff is hard. Really enjoy Thunder Force 2. Thunder Force 4, yeah. Mega Drive Tour de Force. Yes, it's got the slowdown, but my gosh, Technosoft pushing the hardware, showing what it can do. Great shooter, great soundtrack, great intro. Yeah, you talk about the Mega Drive, Thunder Force 4. This is it. This is what it's all about. Great soundtrack as well. Dynamite Duke. Good port. Simple game. Simple arcade game. Simple port. Does the job. Japanese version as Dolph Lundgren with a metal arm on it. There's the artwork there. Okay. Oh, I'll talk about amazing artwork now. Ghouls and Ghosts. And you can put the artwork aside. It's an amazing port. Stunning game. One of the best games, best ports on the Mega Drive. And, back in the day, it was all about, bringing arcade games home. And this was doing the business. Brilliant conversion, brilliant game. I used to be really good at this game as a kid, and I've kind of lost my skills, lost my edge. But I love Ghouls and Ghosts. Best port there is, in my mind there, the Mega Drive one. I know that might upset a few people, but it's true. Final Blow, known as James Buster Douglas's boxing, I think, in the West. This is the proper Taito version. The arcade version is released in arcades as well. It looks great. It looks just like the arcade game. But sadly, once you get rid of the big sprites, it's just poor animation and a very, very unbalanced crap. Excuse me for swearing there. Boxing game, so not very good. But it looks good. Dick Tracy. The graphics on this are great, and I like it's a fun game. I like the way you can just, it's a side-scrolling shooter, like a bit like a Contra. But I like when you can start using the machine gun and start firing stuff in the background as well. This was obviously the cash-in when the film came out, but that's worth a try. That is Dick Tracy. I enjoy that. Outrun, good solid port of Outrun there. Obviously no scaling. I remember the UK press being really harsh to this, Mean Machines, not saying good things about it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's as good as like the Afterburner port. But I think by the early 90s, a lot of people, certainly in the UK, playing arcade games from 1986 was not what they were about. It was like ancient history. But this is a solid port. I didn't buy it when I was a kid because, I wanted games for the future, not from 1986. But it's a really good port, that is. Well worth investing. Shining Force, sadly, the one in my collection here now is unplayable because it's all in Japanese. But I had this as a kid. Great tactics RPG, great battle kind of strategy stuff. Really enjoy that. Wonderful graphics as well. Definitely get yourself some Shining Force. Right, where are we going next? I think we'll go to the EA selection. Populous, solid port of the 16-bit home computer games. Desert Strike. I really could have done with a dead box version of this because And this is another big Mega Drive game for me. Spent a lot of time playing it. Amazing graphics, amazing presentation. Still fun today. Love Desert Strike. LHX Attack Chopper. EA went mad for like 3D polygon, watered down simulations, flight simulations like and chopper simulations. LHX one of them. It's really good fun balance of arcade and simulation. Had that for one Christmas when I was a kid. Good fun game. Would recommend. Shadow of the Beast. Not too fussed about this game. It looks great. I don't think the Mega Drive version looks as good as the Amiga version. The gameplay is not the best, but this game's always been a technical demonstrator for the Amiga, and it does look good on the Mega Drive as well. Bulls versus Lakers in NBA playoffs. Yeah, I think Jordan's in that as well, which is good because you can play as Jordan. Yeah, you can play as Jordan. It's good-ish. It's a bit stiff nowadays. I think NBA Jam eclipsed it back in the day. But that's okay. And it's good for the nostalgia of the old NBA teams as well, if you want to play them. Crew Ball, if you like Motley Crue. You've got a Motley Crue soundtrack there to a pinball game. Decent. F-22 Interceptor. That was, I think, the first 3D polygon flight simulator shooter thing that came out on the Mega Drive. And, yeah, quite a landmark one, that. And a really, really good game. We all loved flight sims back in the day, didn't we? Flight combat sims. And to get one playing on your console was amazing. Because you needed like a PC or at least an Amiga to enjoy those kind of games, but you could do them on the go. It's great. Okay. And then finally, Super Baseball 2020. I've always wanted this game on the Neo Geo, but there's no way I'm paying like £5,000 for the Neo Geo version. And the Mega Drive port looked really good, so I picked this up for like £5 this year. I found on eBay or £6. I haven't played it yet, but it certainly looks good. And just shows they're kind of closely related, the Mega Drive and the Neo Geo hardware. Well, obviously the Neo Geo hardware was superior, but when pushed, the Mega Drive could do a good port, I'm telling you. So that's that. Right, we're now going to move on to my PAL and European games. So this is Mega Games 1. This was very popular, loads of people. I think this was a £20 special as well back in the day. And that's Super Hang-On, World Cup Italia 90. Super nostalgia for that, even though it's not a very good game. And Columns. That's Dragon's Fury. This is the Western version of Devil Crash. And this Dragon's Fury's got all the satanic imagery removed for the Western audiences. But it's the same game. And this is Technosoft working the magic again. Brilliant pinball game. Love it. But if you can get the Japanese Devil Crash or Crush, that's the one to go for. But this is really good as well. 688 Tax Hub. It's a submarine warfare simulation game. Never really got into it back in the day, never got into it now, but if I ever feel like being a submarine commander, I might try that. Road Blasters, this doesn't get enough hype here, I think, guys. This is a stunning port of the arcade game. It's fun, plays like the arcade game, looks like the arcade game, sounds like the arcade game. That's what you want from an arcade port. There's a lot of good Atari games that got ported really well to the Mega Drive, and this is one of them. Wrestle War, dreadful Western box art, never mind though. Good solid port, good fun, and good graphics really. Do like Wrestle War. That's the Genesis version, the American version of Sonic. I got this for 50p. I got given to me at a games convention years ago. Got this because obviously this is the version I had when I was a kid. Obviously this has got the box though. Revenge of Shinobi, or Super Shinobi as it's known in Japan. Yeah, another Mega Drive classic. Brilliant game. Lots of different revisions on this. And they had to remove people like Spider-Man, Godzilla, the Terminator, Rambo, because of licensing issues. Batman's in there as well. I don't know what revision this is, but I think it's got some of them. But when I was a kid, I had the revision that had all the characters in it that were completely unlicensed. And got Sega in a bit of trouble legally for that, I think. But yeah, that's a brilliant game. Muhammad Ali's Heavyweight Boxing. Good boxing fun. I remember renting that from the video shop back in the day. Good boxing game. Streets of Rage 2 or Bare Knuckle 2. Amazing game. Yeah, shows what the Mega Drive can do. Arguably better than Final Fight. I'm going to say arguably because I do prefer Final Fight, but this is a brilliant game. You've not Mega Drived until you've played that, so please, everyone play Streets of Rage 2 or Bare Knuckle 2. Premier Manager 97. I remember having this on the Amiga. They're all right, the Premier Manager games are very simple compared to Championship Manager, but it's nice having a Football Manager game on a console back then. It was a real novelty. That plays just like the Amiga version. I think it's got battery backup as well, but it's definitely not Championship Manager if you're into that. Wonder Boy Monster World. Enjoyed this as a kid. Really liked it, really got into it. One of the better Wonder Boy games. Talmit's Adventure. It's a Namco port, another great Namco port. Was it Marvel Land this was called, or Rodland? I think it was Marvel Land, I think, or something like that. Don't know why they changed it to that kind of rubbish name, Talmit's Adventure. But yeah, this arcade port of that game, and it's really, really good, and it looks really like the arcade game, so I'd recommend that. I think the Japanese version's got called Marvel Land, the correct name as well. Zero Wing, all your bases, all your bases belong to us. Or all our bases belong to us, whatever it was, that great internet meme from the early days. Great port, Toll Plan Magic. I had the Japanese version as a kid. This is really good. More flight sims, F-15 Strike Eagle 2. This is really good. Really good use of the hardware. Plays all right, that does. I think there was an arcade game as well that came out that this is based on, I think, not sure. Two Crude Dudes, or Crude Buster, it's known in Japan. Great port. Had this as a kid. Enjoyable. Simple, but really enjoyable beat 'em up, that. Merc's stunning port. Really, really makes use of the hardware. Sadly, hasn't got the 2 or 3 player. We'll get that. But they made up for it by putting that original mode in there as well. A really playable game. If I ever feel like playing a bit of Mega Drive, I always end up coming back to a bit of Merc's because it's just fun. Quackshot, great graphics, great presentation, fun game. Yeah, again, if you like your Disney games, check this out. Alicia Dragoon, interesting side-scrolling shooting platforming thing with different dragons and different weapons you can use. Had that back in the day, Japanese version. Japanese version's got amazing box art. That's good box art, but the Japanese one, stuff is better. Good game. We're filling up the cartridges left, right and centre here. Fatal Fury, not as good as the Neo Geo version and the arcade version. It's all right. I rented that from the video shop back in the day. Forgotten Worlds, stunning port on a small cartridge. It's got the 2-player in there. Everything really, apart from the speech. Such a good port. If they only had a bigger cartridge, you could have perhaps had the speech, between levels. But and maybe a bit more detail on the background, a bit but that is a really good port. Capcom CPS1 games really did translate well to the Mega Drive. Super High Impact, got this for collection cheap years ago. I saw this in arcades as a kid and it looked fun, midway craziness. But never had it. I haven't played it properly yet as well, so I need to give that a go. Last Battle, or Fist of the North Star in the Japanese version, called Last Battle because they have the Fist of the North Star license in the West. It's not very good, this, at all. Looks good in stills and the sprites are big, but that's about it. Alter Beast, best port of the arcade game. Packing game for Mega Drive, sold in the West in the early days before Sonic. Did the job, showed people that the Mega Drive could give you an arcade experience at home. And I still like to play Altered Beast, it's good fun. NBA Jam Tournament Edition. I prefer the Mega Drive version to the SNES version, mainly because it's got music. This is the Tournament Edition as well. Yeah, I do love a bit of NBA Jam. Rolling Thunder 2. Had this when I was a kid. Amazing port. Looks just like the arcade game. I think it adds more to it as well, I'm not sure. But it plays great. Namco working their magic again there. Gynug or Gynug. Brilliant kind of HR Geiger graphics for the shooter. I'm not speaking very good English here, but HR Geiger inspired shooter with biomechanic horror as the theme. Main sprite's a little bit tween, a bit small. But I never bought this as a kid, because again it was another shooter, and I've played it recently and it's all right. It's good fun. Worth buying for the Geiger inspired graphics. Spider-Man, graphics aren't the best, but it's played all right. I played this a lot as a kid. I had a load of Spider-Man games as a kid. I had a Spider-Man game on the Game Boy as well. I must have had a big thing for Spider-Man, I think, when I was a kid. But yeah, it's good fun. The graphics aren't the best though. And worst box art of the Mega Drive goes to Shadow Dancer, especially when you compare to the Japanese box art. I mean, what is this nonsense here? Absolute rubbish. However, not like the arcade game, which was slightly weak. They've just created a game very similar to the original Shinobi on the Mega Drive. Good graphics, good game, fast, fun, challenging. Definitely almost as good as Super Shinobi. And I would recommend, if you like Shinobi games there, Shadow Dancer. It's really, really good. But that box art is just an eyesore, isn't it? Paperboy, decent port of the arcade game. It's okay, that is. If you like Paperboy, you'll like that. Mortal Kombat 2, not fussed when I was a kid about Mortal Kombat, but this is a serviceable graphics on Mortal Kombat 3. Plays really well, though. Good fun. If you like your Mortal Kombat, you'll like that. Evander Holyfield's Real Deal Boxing. This is a decent boxing game. I quite like playing that recently. That's good. Cheeky Cheeky Boys, which is a terrible title because the arcade game was called Mega Twins, which is much better. Again, don't know why they changed the name. This is another Sega reprogrammed Capcom CPS1 game. Really good. Looks like the arcade game, but I think it's only one player, unfortunately. But that is a good port and a good game, good platformer. Golden Axe 2, didn't bother with it in the kit when I was a kid. Oh, sorry for dropping that because it looked too much like the arcade, too much like Golden Axe 1. Couldn't be bothered paying 40, 50 quid for more of the same. But it's a slight tweak, slight improvement. No, it's not an improvement. It's just it is more of the same. It's not as good as Golden Axe 1 if I'm being brutal. But if you like Golden Axe, you'll like Golden Axe 2 on the Mega Drive. Arnold Palmer's Tournament Golf. No interest in that game as a kid. It was in loads of bargain buckets for like a £5. It's all right. It's decent. Very early Mega Drive game. And I think if you take 99 shots as a cheat code, you can play around a Fantasy Zone in that as well, which is a nice little cheat that I added in. This is a good Mega Games. You've got Super Mario GP, that's ace. You've got Super Thunderblade, that's not ace. But again, for an early game, it did the job. And Alien Storm, oops, sorry for rocking the camera there, guys, do apologise. And then Alien Storm is a really good port, really good port. So definitely worth that, Mega Games 3. And then European Club Soccer, and that's definitely someone called 80s. I mean, if you're my age, you remember the 90s when you lent cartridges to your friends, you're not sure you're going to get them back. You start painting your name on there. There's no way that someone can deny that's not yours. This is just a port of an Amiga football game that was quite big, and it's okay. It's not. I don't think it's very good. That was a 50p or £1 game. Got it. And then some more interesting things. That's 126 in 1 multi-cart I bought a few years back. The label on the original cartridge was peeling, so I got one of these nice translucent cartridges in kind of rose pink from AliExpress, a couple of quid, and just transferred the ROM chip over. So it's all nice and solid now, but that's got 126 games in there, all really good games as well. That's my Game Genie, essential to play my import games and running cheats, so very good. I would recommend. And funny enough, this arrived in the post today because I've been after a power-based converter or a converter that works. This was AliExpress for about £4 or £5. And this is a Master System adapter for Mega Drive. So just put the top in Master System games on top, and it works. And interestingly enough, because this is a 60 hertz Japanese Mega Drive that I've got, if I plug a Master System game in there, it'll run at 60 hertz and run faster than the non-optimized PAL games. So that's really good as well, and preserves my Master System's cartridge slot. And then to finish off, guys, this has been one hell of a long video. That's my Sega Trucker Cap, £3 from AliExpress again. Looks like it's from back in the day, but it's not, sadly, but it is good. So that was £3, what a bargain. And finally, many years ago, I did another video. I said many years a lot on this video, of my Mega Drive Mini. It's there. I don't know if you can see it there on the camera, but yeah. Yeah, you get it. I've got Mega Drive Mini as well. That's a basic thing, but I just can't get in the camera at the moment. I don't want to make a big mess with a Jenga game of cards to play, but there it is. That's the Mega Drive Mini as well. If you look on my channel, you'll be able to find my unboxing video of that from years ago as well. Right, guys, thank you. This has been an epic video, but I think just the basic length and detail that I go in there just shows what this fantastic console kind of means to me. I'll bring it to the front just to do my closing remarks. Shout out to the Mega Drive. it's just the best. It's part of me. Love the Mega Drive. Thank you for sitting through this. It's been a journey. So please like, share and subscribe. And thanks for everything, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Take care.